This is Carol Rhodes. He just murdered a 2-year-old in Las Vegas. And he confessed to it. He's starting to panic. He's desperate. Desperate people are dangerous. Pre-threat indicators, you know right now he's in survival mode. 2 officers come in. I can't go back. Takes an officer's gun. Weapon light is on. He has control. Ooh, the gun's pointing in some bad directions. Struggle ensues. Pain doesn't work when it comes to violence.
Drop the gun! Terrell, drop the gun! You're making things worse!
Violence is a race to catastrophic damage. Pain compliance can work, but not against someone who's desperate. 4-on-1. They have the weapon. Boom! Let's see what we can learn from this. Byron Rodgers, Tactical Protection Review. Learn protection strategies from a protection professional. We about to get up in this thing. So Carol Rhodes just confessed to killing a 2-year-old. You've got him in custody. What do we see? What do we say when we're looking at these situations? Context, right? Context, tactical positioning, rolling risk assessment. So what does that say to us right now? This guy's in this room and he's panicking. He's getting more and more desperate. You're in a jail. You're working with a criminal. You got to understand you're in a dangerous environment. Also, if you have a weapon on you, you've got to understand that that weapon makes any physical altercation or violent encounter a possibly lethal one, right? So what do we see here? We've got Carol Rhodes climbing up in his chair. We've got 2 officers in the room who are undoubtedly armed. He's climbing up into his chair. He's actually taking tactical positioning within the room in that environment. This is a big deal. This is very, very dangerous. Crucial mistake. He gets up on that chair and then he lunges for that firearm. Space is huge, especially if your weapon is a firearm. If you have a blade, you want to get closer. Space is huge with regards to any weapon. If you have a blade, you want to get closer. If you have a firearm, you want to be farther away, because that's what you need in order to implement that weapon effectively. If you're in close quarters with a combatant, you need to protect that firearm. One of the things we teach at these protector symposiums, Craig Douglas does a great job, is learning how to earn that draw, how to protect that firearm. Look him up if you don't know who he is. Shiv works. So now, this guy grabs this weapon right out of her holster. Now, if you're doing any kind of work, whether it's private security or law enforcement, you're in a position where you have an exposed firearm, you really, really need to have some type of retention. I cannot stress it enough. Don't get lazy and go for something that doesn't have retention. It's there for a reason. And how easy is it to protect something? Have you ever tried to protect something that's over here on your side? Have you ever tried to do that? Negative. It's almost impossible. So you need to make sure that and if you're out there and you're thinking about going exposed carry in your everyday civilian life, you better have some type of retention, because it's very difficult to have enough bandwidth in awareness to be able to protect that firearm at all times. The struggle ensues. This man is desperate. Now we see her throwing blows, and I'd like to point out to you guys, this holster, I may be incorrect, but from what it looks like here, it looks like a pancake holster that does not have any retention, and I believe that's one thing that really, really contributed to this situation. And as this continues, they struggle for the weapon. He's a one-handed man, handcuffed, and it's this difficult to get this weapon out of his hands. These officers struggle. They're able to recover the firearm, but you've got to make sure that if you have an exposed weapon, you have retention on that weapon. I've seen countless videos of people taking weapons from people. So as we start this thing from the beginning, paying attention from the beginning, Context. I'm in a dangerous environment. I need to have my senses lifted. Tactical positioning. Where am I in this environment? These things really, really, really matter as you start to get into dangerous situations. If you have an exposed weapon, do you have retention on that weapon? Distance. How are you managing distance if you are armed or looking to use a weapon? And then the third thing that I didn't really mention, that I mentioned that I didn't really go into, is pain compliance. Pain compliance does work sometimes, but with a determined, desperate enemy, these blows that you're seeing the female officer dish out are not going to be the answer. These officers do a great job in that they don't necessarily harm this guy, no matter what our opinion is of him. It's a pretty surgical job in terms of not really damaging him, but at this point you're in fear for your life and it's a green light on a lot of things. But pain compliance is not the tool when it comes to someone desperate. You've got to understand that violence is a race to catastrophic damage. Whoever damages the other one and incapacitates the other one first is the person that wins in a life-threatening situation. Come train with us at protectorsymposium.com. Byron Rodgers, protector by nature and by trade, and I'll see you on the next piece of content. Out.